Good morning, everyone. I couldn't get myself added to the stream. Happy Friday. Hope everyone's doing well. Let's see who's in the chat. Lisa, Karen, Light Feather. Good morning, ladies. Hey, Very Mary. Good morning. Oh my gosh, it has been like a hectic morning. I'm so tired, y'all. So tired. I done too much work yesterday over at the funny farm. I finally got that trampoline. Mark took a trampoline and put chicken wire around it and made it to where my chickens can go into it. I got that moved back to the coop door. That way I can get that rooster out of there easier so I can get in to get my eggs. Because he's freaking psycho. He'll try to murder you if you go in that lot. So I got all that moved back. I didn't get Annabelle's shed cleaned out, but I'm going to do that today. Hey, Debbie. Good morning. Also, I just want to remind y'all that I won't be live Monday. I'm having my dental surgery Monday. So I won't be live, and I can't guarantee you I'll be live Tuesday or Wednesday. I will try, but I'm having a lot of work done to my mouth, and I probably just need to rest for a few days after that. They did call and confirm my appointment, so everything's still on. Hey, nurse teacher, Jack's mom. But anyways, we're still going to have our Halloween party, and probably since I'm not going to be live Monday, we're going to play some Halloween trivia Saturday night, tomorrow night. I found some cool trivia, so y'all be brushing up on your Halloween facts, because we need to have fun. So we're going to talk about this monster, Susan Smith, this morning. Sunday is the 26th anniversary of her drowning her kids, murdering them. And she's up for parole in 2024. We got to bring awareness back to this monster. I can't stand Susan Smith. She's one monster I do know quite a bit about. And she's a monster, y'all. That's the only words for it. She's a monster. She still don't have no damn remorse for what she did. All she's got is a bunch of excuses. She regrets she got caught. She regrets she didn't lie better, basically. So we're going to learn everything about her this morning. Got some good information pulled up here, and y'all can comment as I'm talking and reading. And this happened in, when was it, 1994? October 25th? And she was convicted in July 22nd, 1995. Sentenced to life in prison. She was from Union, South Carolina. Susan Vaughan Smith. I looked up how to pronounce her maiden name, and that's how it said. We'll start out with her early childhood years and go from there. And at the end, I'll read y'all the letter that her lover wrote her when he broke up with her. And that allegedly is what pushed her over the edge. She makes me so angry. Even was racist in her lies. Yeah, tried to blame a black man. They knew she was lying from the very first time they interacted with her after police were called. They knew she was lying. She couldn't even describe the guy. Another way they knew she was lying is she said she was stopped at a red light, at that particular red light, and she said no one else was around, no other cars. It shouldn't have been, her stoplight shouldn't have been red if no other cars were coming. It would have been green. That's just the way that light worked. So they knew she was lying. But let's go back to the beginning of her life. She was born on September 26, 1971 in Union, South Carolina. And Union, South Carolina is just a small southern town. Her parents were Linda and Harry Vaughan. She was the youngest of 3 children and the couple's only daughter. Her parents divorced when she was just 7 years old, and about 5 weeks later, her dad, Harry, committed suicide. He was just 37 years old. Her parents' tumultuous marriage and the death of her father left Susan a sad, empty, and oddly distant child. You know what? We all got bad childhoods. We've all had bad childhoods. A lot of us. We don't kill our kids. Okay. Within weeks of the Vaughans' divorce, Linda married Beverly Russell. He's known as Bev. He was a successful local businessman. Linda and the children moved from their small, modest home into Bev's house, located in an exclusive subdivision of Union. Well, she didn't waste no time getting married, did she, y'all? Now, as a teen, Susan was a good student. She was well liked, very outgoing, and in her junior year, she was voted president of the Junior Civitan Club, a club which focused on volunteering in the community. Her final years of high school, she received the Friendliest Female Award and was known for her cheerful and fun disposition. You freaking serious? I knew she was voted friendliest, but every time I see that and read it, it just like blows my mind. Really? But during those years of enjoying her popularity and positions of leadership, Susan was harboring a dark family secret. At the age of 16, her stepfather turned from caretaker to molester. Susan reported the behavior to her mother and to CPS. Bev moved out of the home temporarily. Nothing of any consequence resulted from Susan's report, and after a few family counseling sessions, Bev returned home. Susan was chastised by her family for making the sexual abuse a public affair, and Linda appeared more concerned that her family would be subjected to public embarrassment than protecting her daughter. Unfortunately for Susan, with Bev back in the house, the sexual molestation continued. I just want to add that I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but she continued to have sex with him even after she was 18 and out of the house. In her senior year of high school, Susan turned to a school counselor for help. The Department of Social Services was contacted again, but Susan refused to press charges, and the matter was swiftly swept under the proverbial carpet of lawyers, agreements, and sealed records, which protected Bev and the family from the feared public humiliation. Her mom's a real piece of work, huh? Rejection and attempted suicide. During the summer of 1988, Susan got a job at the local Winn-Dixie store and moved quickly up the ranks from cashier to bookkeeper. In her senior year at high school, she was sexually active with three men: a married older man who worked at the store, a younger coworker, and Bev, her stepfather. Susan became pregnant and had an abortion. The married man ended their relationship, and her reaction to the breakup was to attempt suicide by taking aspirin and Tylenol. I've never heard of anyone try to kill themselves with aspirin and Tylenol. Come on. While being treated in the hospital, she admitted to having tried a similar suicide attempt when she was 13 years old. I attempted suicide about that age too. Okay. David Smith. At work, another relationship was beginning to form with a coworker and high school friend named David Smith. David ended his engagement with another woman and started dating Susan. The two decided to marry when Susan discovered she was pregnant. Susan and David Smith married on March 15, 1991, and moved into David's great-grandmother's house. David's parents were suffering the recent loss of another son who died from Crohn's disease just 11 days before Susan and David married. By May of 1991, the strain of the loss of a son proved too much for David's parents. His father attempted suicide. His mother left, moved to another city. This kind of family drama fit right into what Susan was used to, and the couple, both very needy people, spent the early months of their marriage comforting one another. On October 10th, 1991, Susan and David's first son, Michael, was born. David and Susan showered the child with love and attention, but having a child could not help the differences in the newlyweds' backgrounds, which began to put a strain on their relationship. Susan was more materialistic than David and often turned to her mother for financial help. David found Linda, Susan's mother, to be very intrusive and controlling, and he resented Susan always doing what Linda wanted her to do, especially when it came to raising Michael. By March 1992, Susan and David were separated, and over the next 7 months, they tried on and off to mend their marriage. During the breakups, Susan dated a former boyfriend from work, which did not help matters at all. In November of 92, Susan announced she was pregnant again, which seemed to bring David and her into clearer focus, and the two reunited. The couple borrowed money from Susan's mother for a down payment on a house, believing having their own home would fix their troubles. But over the next 9 months, Susan became more distant and complained continuously about being pregnant, because Susan really didn't want to be pregnant again, in my opinion. In June 93, David felt lonely and isolated in his marriage, and he began to have an affair with a coworker. After the birth of their second child, Alexander Tyler, on August 5th, 93, David and Susan reunited, but within 3 weeks, David had once again moved out, and the two decided the relationship was over. Regardless of their broken marriage, both David and Susan were good, attentive, and caring parents who seemed to enjoy the children. I don't believe Susan was ever a caring parent. I think that's just how she acted in front of people. People that drown their kids in cars are not caring parents. Hold on, let me get my smoke lit back up here. Okay, now we're going to talk about Tom Finley. Y'all just chat away. I'm not even looking at the chat, but I will when I'm done here, and we'll talk. Tom Finley. Susan, not wanting to work in the same place as David, took a job as a bookkeeper at the largest employer in the area, Conso Products. She was eventually promoted to executive secretary position for the president and CEO of Conso, J. Carey Finley. For Union, South Carolina, this was a prestigious position, which exposed Susan to wealthy people with extravagant lifestyles. It also gave her the opportunity to get closer to one of Union's most eligible bachelors, the son of her boss, Tom Finley. And I just want to add, he's not all that attractive. In January 94, Susan and Tom began casually dating, but by the spring, she and David were back together. The reconciliation only lasted a few months, and Susan told David she wanted a divorce. In September, she was dating Tom Finley again and planning their future together in her mind. Tom, in the meantime, was trying to figure out how to end it with Susan. I think she just wanted Tom so bad because he was from a well-to-do family. On October 17th, 1994, just days before David and Susan's divorce papers were filed, Tom Finley sent a Dear John letter to Susan. His reasons for wanting to end their relationship included the differences in their backgrounds. He was also empathetic about not wanting children or wanted to raise her children. He encouraged Susan to act more with more self-respect, and referred to an episode when Susan and a friend's husband were kissing each other in a hot tub during a party at Tom's father's estate. Tom wrote, "If you want to catch a nice guy like me one day, you have to act like a nice girl. And you know, nice girls don't sleep with married men." Well, ain't that the truth? This next part is called Narcissistic Delusions. Susan was devastated when she read that letter, but she was also living out delusional dreams, which in reality were a combination of grotesque lies, deceit, lust, and narcissism. On one hand, she was deeply depressed that Tom ended their relationship, but unknown to him. She was still sexually involved with David and her stepfather, Bev Russell, and had allegedly had a sexual affair with her boss, who was Tom's father. In an attempt to get Tom's sympathy and attention, Susan confessed to him about her ongoing sexual relationship with her stepfather, Bev. When that didn't work, she told him of her alleged affair with his father and warned him that the details of the relationship might come out during her divorce with David. Tom's reaction was one of shock, and he reiterated that the two of them would never again have a sexual relationship. Any hopes to maneuver her way back into Tom's life had now been permanently severed. She thought that she was going to get some sympathy from him. How did she think that he would react when she's like, "Hey, I'm sleeping with your dad"? Might come out in my divorce. Now, it's never really been confirmed if she really was sleeping with Tom Finley's dad. This next part's called Obsessions. On October 25th, 1994, Susan Smith spent that day obsessing over her breakup with Tom Finley. As the day progressed, she became increasingly upset and asked to leave work. After picking up her children from daycare, she stopped to talk to a friend in a parking lot and expressed her fears over Tom's reaction to her sleeping with his father. In a last ditch effort to sway Tom's feelings, she asked her friend to watch the children while she went to Tom's office to tell him the story was a lie. According to her friend, Tom did not appear happy to see Susan and quickly got her out of his office. Later that evening, she phoned her friend, who she knew was having dinner with Tom and his friends. Susan wanted to know if Tom had said anything about her, but he had not. No, he wanted rid of her because he thought Susan Smith was a hoe. That's what he thought about Susan Smith. She was not wife material. At around 8 p.m., Susan put her barefooted sons in the car, strapped them into their seats, and began driving around. In her confession, she stated she wanted to die and was headed to her mother's house but decided against it. Instead, she drove to John D. Long Lake, drove onto a ramp, got out of the car, put the car in drive, released the brake, and watched as her car, with her children sleeping in the back seat, plunged into the lake. The car drifted out, then slowly sank, and I believe it actually took 18 minutes to sink. 9 days of deceit. Susan ran to a nearby home and knocked on the door. She was acting like she was hysterical. She told the homeowners, Shirley and Rick McLeod, that a black man had taken her car and her two boys. She described how she stopped at a red light on Monarch Mills when a man with a gun jumped into her car and told her to drive. She drove around some, and then he told her to stop and get out of the car. At that point, he told her he wouldn't hurt the kids, then drove off with the boys. Who she could hear crying out for her. For 9 days, Susan Smith stuck to that story of being abducted. Friends and family surrounded her in support. David had returned to his wife's side as the search for their children intensified. The national media showed up in Union as the tragic story of the boys' abduction circulated. Susan, with her face spotted with tears, let me add, fake tears, and David looking distraught and desperate, made a public plea for the safe return of their sons. In the meantime, Susan's story was beginning to unravel. And we can take a look at a couple of those clips when she was on the news pleading for her kids. You watch it now and you can just tell it was just so fake. I remember watching it with my granny, and my granny was like, that woman did something to those kids. She won't hardly make any eye contact. When she was pleading for their safe return, she was looking down. She was not looking up. It's the telltale signs of a liar. Someone's ashamed of themselves. Sheriff Howard Wells, the lead investigator on the case, had David and Susan polygraphed. David passed, but Susan's results were inconclusive. Throughout the 9 days of the investigation, Susan was given numerous polygraphs, questioned about the inconsistencies in her carjacking story. One of the biggest clues that led the authorities to believe Susan was lying was her story about stopping at the red light on Monarch Mills Road. She stated that she saw no other cars on the road, yet the light turned red. The light on Monarch Mills was always green and only turned red if it was triggered by a car on the cross street. Since she said there were no other cars on the road, there was no reason for her to come up to a red light. Leaks to the press about discrepancies in Susan's story resulted in accusatory questions by reporters. Also, people around her noticed her displaying questionable behavior for a mother whose children were missing. She seemed overly concerned with how she looked in front of the television cameras. Oh, don't that remind us of Lori Vallow? And at times asked about the whereabouts of Tom Finley. She also had dramatic moments of deep sobbing, but would be dry eyed and tearless. Susan Smith, one of the biggest monsters that I've ever read about, just to be honest. On November 3rd, 1994, David and Susan appeared on CBS This Morning. David's voice voiced his full support of Susan and her story about the abduction. After the interview, Susan met with Sheriff Wells for another interrogation. This time, however, Wells was direct and told her he did not believe her story about the carjacking. He explained to her about the light on Monarch Mills staying green and discrepancies in other adaptations she had made to her story during the past 9 days. And actually, when she went to meet with the sheriff that day that she confessed, she didn't tell anyone. She didn't tell David or her family that she was going to meet with him. She said she had to go do some errands. But really, she went to the church and met with the sheriff. Exhausted and emotionally drained, Susan asked Wells to pray with her. Then, afterwards, she began crying and telling how ashamed she felt for what she had done. Her confession to pushing the car into the lake began to spill out. She said she had wanted to kill herself and her children, but in the end, she got out of the car, sent her boys to their death. I don't believe that for 1 second that she ever planned to kill herself. Freaking coward. Oh, she couldn't kill herself, but she had no freaking problem letting her kids drown in that car. She had time to get them out of that car after she did this. She could have went into the lake. Freaking monster. It takes a monster to drive your kids into the lake, push a car into the lake, watch it sink. Can you imagine how scared they were? Before the breaking news of Susan's confession, Sheriff Wells wanted to locate the bodies of the boys. Previous search of the lake had failed to turn up Susan's car, but after her confession, she gave police the exact distance the car had floated out before it sank. Divers found the car turned upside down, with the children dangling from their car seats. One diver described that he saw a small hand of one of the children pressed against a window. Jesus mercy. Also found in the car was the Dear John letter Tom Finley had written. An autopsy of the children proved that both boys were still alive when their tiny heads were submerged underwater. See, I believe that's what her punishment should have been. They should have put her in the same type of car, and rolled her ass into that lake, just like she did her kids. And I know the law don't work that way, but that's just my opinion about this. Gosh, I hope I'm not blocking anyone. Um, incredibly, Susan reached out to David in a letter filled with "I'm sorry," then complained that her feelings were being overshadowed by everyone else's grief. Poor Susan, freaking monster. Stunned, David questioned who Susan really was and felt a brief moment of sympathy for her confused and demented state of mind. Well, you know what? I don't feel no damn sympathy for her. I don't care nothing about this woman. I don't care about her trauma in her childhood or anything. I had trauma in my childhood too. A lot of us do. We don't kill our kids. Um, But it didn't take long for the sympathy to turn to horror as more facts about the murders of his sons surfaced. He had assumed Susan had shown mercy for killing the boys prior to pushing the car into the lake. But after finding out the truth, he was haunted by the images of his little boy's last moments in the dark, scared, alone, and drowning to death. When he discovered Susan had supplied the police with the exact location of the car and that the car lights had been on when she lifted the brake, he knew she had stayed and watched the car sinking, motivated by her desire to rebuild her relationship with the wealthy Tom Finley. Can y'all believe this? She drowned this man's kids, her own kids too, and she has the nerve to write him a letter and complain about her feelings. Her feelings are being overshadowed by people's grief. Can you believe that she would write something like that? All she cares about is herself. Now we'll get to that, Mary. She's not being a good prisoner. Hey, Susan Smith ain't nothing but a hoe, y'all. Facts. Hey, Natalie. If I missed anyone this morning. Ernie, Elderson, good morning. Shay Shay, Sapphire, Mark A. David, good morning. I've missed a lot of y'all. Sorry, guys. I don't look at the chat when I'm doing this because, I digress. It's my word, digress. Okay. Where did I leave off? Okay. During the trial, Susan's defense lawyers relied heavily on Susan's childhood of tragedy and the sexual abuse, which manifested itself into a lifetime of untreated depression and suicidal thoughts. Wow, cry me a river. Had a bad childhood too. They explained that her abnormal need to depend on others for happiness led to the multiple sexual relationships she was involved in during her life. The bottom line was that Susan was outwardly normal, as she might have appeared, was in truth hiding a deep-seated mental illness. Oh, she's just hiding she's a monster. A lot of us got mental illness. We don't drown our kids. Okay. The prosecution showed the jury a more devious and manipulative side of Susan Smith, whose only concerns was her own desires. Her children had become a major handicap in Susan's ability to get what she wanted. By killing them, she would not only get the sympathy of her former lover, Tom Finley, but with the children gone, it was one less reason for him to end their relationship. See how delusional she was thinking? She thought that he didn't want her just because of the kids. He didn't want her ass because she was a hoe. She told him that she had been having an affair with his daddy. How did she think that man was going to react to, hey, I've been sleeping with your daddy. Details might come out in a divorce. Freaking hoe. Okay. Susan Smith was unresponsive during her trial except when her sons were mentioned, which sometimes led her to sobbing and shaking her head as if in disbelief that the boys were dead. It took the jury like 2.5 hours to return a verdict of guilty on 2 counts of murder. Despite David's protests, Susan Smith was spared the death sentence and received a sentence of 30 years to life in prison. She will be eligible for parole in 2025. Actually, I think that's wrong because I just saw this morning that she's going to be eligible for parole in 2024, when she is 53 years old. David has sworn to attend every parole hearing to try to keep Susan Smith in jail for life. Yeah, she gets out, she'll probably kill again anyone else gets in her way. She showed no remorse. Since her incarceration at South Carolina's Leith Correctional Institute, 2 guards have been punished for having sex with Susan Smith. Her sexual activity in prison was discovered after she contracted sexually transmitted disease. Jesus. Michael and Alex were buried together in the same casket in the Bogensville United Methodist Church Cemetery on November 6, 1994, next to the grave of David's brother and the children's uncle, Danny Smith. Seems like Susan's brother committed suicide too. That was before the murders. Way before it, though. Okay. Y'all want to read the breakup letter, and then I'm going to look at the chat. Here is the Dear John letter. Okay. This is the Dear John letter that John Finley gave to Susan on October 17, 1994. Many believe this is what motivated Susan Smith to kill her children. This is the original letter. No corrections was made either. Dear Susan, I hope you don't mind, but I think clear when I am typing. So this letter is being written on my computer. This is a difficult letter for me to write because I know how much you think of me. And I want you to know that I am flattered that you have such a high opinion of me. Susan, I value our friendship very much. You're one of the few people on this earth that I feel I can tell anything. You're intelligent, you're beautiful, sensitive, understanding, and possess many other wonderful qualities that I and many other men appreciate. Yeah, buddy. You will, without a doubt, make some lucky man a great wife, but unfortunately, it won't be me. Even though you think we have much in common, we are vastly different. We have been raised in two totally different environments and therefore think totally different. That's not to say that I was raised better than you or vice versa. It just means that we come from two different backgrounds. When I started dating Laura, I knew our backgrounds were going to be a problem. Right before I graduated from Auburn University in 1990, I broke up with the girl, Allison, that I had been dating for over 2 years. I loved Allison very much, and we were very compatible. Unfortunately, we wanted different things out of life. She wanted to get married and have children before the age of 28, and I did not. This conflict spurred our breakup, but we have remained friends through the years. After Allison, I was very hurt. I decided not to file for anyone again until I was ready to make a long commitment. For my first 2 years in Union, I dated very little. In fact, I can count the number of dates I had on one hand. But then Laura came along. We met at Conso, and I fell for her like a ton of bricks. Things were great at first and remained good for a long time, but I knew deep in my heart that she was not the one for me. People tell me that when you find the person that you will want to spend the rest of your life with, you will know it. Well, even though I fell in love with Laura, I had my doubts about a long and lasting commitment, but I never said anything, and I eventually hurt her very, very deeply, and I won't do that again. Susan, I could really file for you. You have many endearing qualities about you, and I think that you are a terrific person. But like I have told you before, there are some things about you that aren't suited for me. And yes, I'm speaking about your children. I'm sure that your kids are good kids, but it really wouldn't matter how good they may be. The fact is, I just don't want children. These feelings may change one day, but I doubt it. With all the crazy, mixed up things that take place in this world today, I just don't have the desire to bring another life into it. And I don't want to be responsible for anyone else's children either. But I'm very thankful that there are people like you who are not selfish as I am and don't mind bearing the responsibility of children. If everyone thought the way I do, our species would eventually become extinct. Jesus Christ, what a letter. But our differences go far beyond the children issue. We are just two totally different people. And eventually, those differences would cause us to break up because I know myself so well. I'm sure of this. But don't be discouraged. There is someone out there for you. In fact, it's probably someone that you may not know at this time or that you may know but would never expect. Either way, before you settle down with anyone again, there is something you need to do. Susan, because you got pregnant and married at such an early age, you missed out on much of your youth. I mean, one minute you were a kid, the next minute you were having kids. Because I come from a place where everyone had the desire and the money to go to college, having the responsibility of children at such a young age is beyond my comprehension. However, my advice to you is to wait and be very choosy about your next relationship. I can see this may be a bit difficult for you because you are a bit boy crazy, but as the proverb states, good things come to those who wait. I'm not saying you shouldn't go out and have a good time. In fact, I think you should do just that. Have a good time, capture some of that youth that you missed out on, but just don't get seriously involved with anyone until you have done the things in life that you want to do first. The rest will fall in place. Listen, I'm not mad at you about what happened this weekend. Actually, I'm very thankful, as I told you. I was starting to let my heart warm up to the idea of us going out as more than just friends. But seeing you kissed another man put things back into perspective. Did I already read that? Is that just repeating that? Hold on a minute. I don't know if it's repeating it or not. Y'all just have to tell me. Okay. I'm not mad at you about what happened this weekend. Actually, I'm very thankful. As I told you, I'm starting to let my heart warm up to the idea of us going out more than just friends. Yeah, I think we already read that part. Must have the letter in here twice or something. Um, no, I don't think it's repeating it. He's just repeating himself in the letter. Let's just go on down here in just a second. Okay, anyhow, I've already told you you are very special and don't let anyone tell you or make you feel any differently. I see so much potential in you, but only you can make it happen. Don't settle for mediocre in life. Go for it all. Only settle for the best. I do. I haven't told you this, but I'm extremely proud of you for going to school. I'm a firm believer in higher education, and once you obtain a degree from college, there's no stopping you. Don't let these idiot boys from Union make you feel like you are not capable or slow you down. After you graduate, you will be able to go anywhere you want in this world. And if you ever want to get a job in Charlotte, my father is the right person to know. He and Connie know everyone who is anyone in the business world in Charlotte. And if I can ever help you with anything, don't hesitate to ask. Well, this letter must come to an end. It's 11:50 p.m. and I'm getting very sleepy, but I wanted to write you this letter because you are the one who is always making the effort for me, and I wanted to return the friendship. I've appreciated it when you have dropped me nice little notes or cards or the presents at Christmas, and it's about time that I started putting a little effort into our friendship. Which reminds me, I thought long and hard about getting you something for your birthday, but I decided not to because I wasn't sure what you might think. Now I'm sorry I didn't get you anything. Um, so you can expect something from me at Christmas, but do not buy me anything for Christmas. All I want from you is a nice sweet card. I'll cherish that more than any store present. Again, you will always have my friendship, and your friendship is one that I will always look upon with sincere and affection. With sincere affection, sorry. This letter got me all bumfuzzled because he repeats himself of what he was saying in the beginning. Jesus, who writes a letter like this? I mean, I'm not taking up for Susan Smith, but if someone didn't want to be in a relationship with me, just say it. Don't write me some big long history letter. I do think this pushed her over the edge. But she had in her mind that he just didn't want to be with her because of the kids. There was a lot more to it than that. Susan was a hoe. She did stuff uh, she said stuff for attention and to get sympathy, like saying that she slept with Tom's dad. I think when she told Tom that she had been sleeping with her stepfather, she thought she was going to get some sympathy. That didn't work. That backfired because, he was like, felt sympathy for her being molested when she was underage. But he didn't feel no sympathy for her because she carried on an affair with her stepfather after she was out of the house, after she was 18. When she was with David, she's still sleeping um, with the stepfather. Now, here's something I've wondered, and I probably shouldn't say this, and I know it doesn't matter now. But how do you know who she was pregnant by? I wonder if they ever did any DNA tests. I guess it don't matter. Um, but when I read about how promiscuous she was, I thought, it's untelling. It's untelling who she was really pregnant by. But to David, they're his kids. I totally get that. He loved them. David's actually remarried and he has some kids now. Of course, they don't replace the two sons that his ex wife murdered. Of course not. Um, Anyways, I don't think Susan will ever be paroled. David's going to make sure she never gets out of prison. She doesn't have any remorse. A few years ago, she actually wrote a letter to a newspaper. She signed it Sincerely, Susan. But in the letter, she's not allowed to have they can't do interviews on her, I don't think. So she had to write back to the newspaper. But in the letter, she's like, I'm not the monster people makes me out to be. Really, lady? Really? You rolled your kids into the lake, let them die slowly, and you're not a monster? And you've had no remorse for it. All you've ever cared about is your feelings. Your feelings were being overshadowed by other people's grief. Remember? Freaking monster. I'd like to be put in a room with her for a few minutes because that's all it takes was a few minutes. She's never going to get out. And she set that guard up, one of those guards that she slept with. According to him, he was on the Dr. Oz show. What was that he was saying? The normal guard that was usually there, he replaced him for some reason. And Susan was the one that came on to him. She wanted to have sex with him so that she could tell on him and then she could get moved to another prison. It was something like that. There was something in it she wanted. That's why she initiated the relationship, came on to this guard. But you know what? What kind of person could sleep with the woman who murdered her 2 little children? Michael was just 3. Alexander was 14 months old. What kind of man would sleep with a woman like that? Every time you look at someone like Susan Smith, you should just see evil, monster, demon. Susan kind of reminds me of Lori Vallow a little bit. Lori wanted rid of her kids too. They was in her way. I mean, totally different cases, circumstances, but you know, they both wanted the same thing, their kids out of their way. Why didn't she just give her kids to David? I really believe she killed him so that Tom would feel sympathy for her and take her back. She was so delusional. She didn't realize that he didn't want her, not because just the kids. He didn't want her because she was, as he said, boy crazy. What he really meant is she was a hoe. She slept around. Here she was trying to be in a relationship with Tom, goes to a party at Tom's dad's house, and is in the hot tub kissing a married coworker. He didn't want a woman like that. That's what Susan didn't realize. He didn't want her because of her. Not a monster. I just think about me before my kids in every situation. It's okay. I killed them. What a mistake. Yeah. That's the way she thinks about it. And do you know there was another tragedy at John D. Long Lake? There were some people there. I'd have to look it up to get the exact details. I can give you a rundown of what happened, but they were there visiting the memorial set up for Alex and Michael. And somehow, there was kids in that van too. Somehow that van popped out of gear or did something. Anyways, it ended up in the lake and some people died there. That place is cursed. They was there to just pay their respects, Ernie. Nut job Letitia Stouch is another one. Yeah, she's a step monster. She really thinks she's going to be found not guilty. That Letitia. Oh. She must have had a lot of hatred and resentment towards Gannon because she was jealous of Gannon's biological mother. That's what I think. A lot of these step monsters do that. They're jealous, resent the kids because of who their parent is. Now, there's some good step parents in the world. I had a good step parent. My little brother's dad, he was like freaking best ever. Best parent I had. Better than my biological parents, that's for sure. But yeah, bitches like Letitia give step parents a bad name. They reenacted the car being pushed into the lake. They used the same color car, same model, everything. Reenacted it so they could show it to the jury. It took 18 minutes for that car to sink. She had 18 minutes to stand there and watch. Shows you how evil she is. They believe that she didn't run away as soon as the car went to the lake. They believe she stood there and watched. The headlights was left on. I love my stepson. Yeah, Mark's good to my son. He really is. He's always been good to him. He goes out and Christmas shops for him, birthday shops, everything. There's some good step parents in the world, of course. But people like Letitia Stouch and Chad Dunbell, I wouldn't consider Chad Dunbell a step parent though. But anyways, I was gonna say they give them bad names. Yeah, 18 minutes. What always got me is the divers saying that little boy's hand was pressed up against the window. I believe it was Michael's hand, if I'm not mistaken. 18 minutes, y'all. Let me see. Let me see if I can find one of her news interviews. My apologies. I got mixed up when I was reading that letter because he repeats himself in it. I don't know if that was a mistake in what I was reading or what, but I mean, personally, he knows that she's in love with him in a letter like that. I mean, come on. But no excuse. I'm just saying, why didn't he just tell her to her face? Why do you have to write a letter like that and give her a history lesson on the people he's dated, you know? He should have just flat out told her, look, I don't want you because you're a hoe. You're promiscuous. I don't usually call people hoes, y'all, but she is one. I mean, facts are facts. I was watching some of her news interviews last night. Let me see if I can find them in my watch history. I was watching, I was trying to catch up on one of my animal channels here. And I must have watched a bunch of videos. Right here it is. Hold on. Let me get my mic unplugged.
I just can't express it enough that we just got to get them home. That's just where they belong with their mama and daddy. I want to say to my babies that your mama loves you so much.
Eight days since Susan Smith claims a carjacker stole her two babies. What everyone hoped would be a joyous appearance by Susan and David Smith becomes yet another anguished plea.
I would like to say to whoever has my children that they please bring them home to us where they belong.
Oh no. I think I'm froze. Okay, did it unfreeze? Okay. But I had to get my mic plugged back in. It didn't look like I was talking or it was moving. I knew she's telling lies from the beginning. Okay, what I was going to say before my mic was messed up. This is the first true crime case I really followed in the news, and I was really young in 1994. But I followed this with my granny. She'd be watching it on the news, and my granny called it. way before she confessed. She's like, that woman did something to her kids because she's not making eye contact. And she don't seem like she's really crying. Granny was right. People don't make eye contact when they're lying, being deceitful. Just think of how poor David felt. Here he was standing by her side, just appeared on Good Morning America that morning that she confessed. Right after that, she meets up with the sheriff, confesses. Imagine how he felt. He was on there supporting her to the whole world. What a fool he must have felt like. Chrissy called it too. Yeah. And now that you go back, now that we know what we know now, and we go back and watch the interviews, I mean, it's obvious she was lying. Obvious she was fake crying. In that one clip we just played, she's like, but there's no tears. There's no tears coming. I had problems with my stepson. He was 15. He would give me verbal, steal on my wallet, on my stuff. I confronted him. His mother did nothing apart from back him up. See, that's a difficult situation to be in. So I'd never let my son disrespect Mark. I never would. Because Mark's been good to him and he's always treated Timothy with respect, So I'd get all over my son for something like that. He knows better. I had just had my 26-year-old a month before when this happened. Oh, so you had just had your baby before this happened. There's just no excuse. Like they tried to save her from the death penalty by talking about her stepfather molesting her. But there's, like I said, a lot of us been sexually abused, had traumatic childhood. We didn't grow up and kill our children or abuse our children. There's no excuse. No excuse. The facts are that Susan Smith killed her kids so that she could try to get her lover back. They were in her way. She wanted rid of them. She's a sick monster. She's an American monster, that's for sure. Susan, it infuriates me that she could roll those kids into the lake and stand there and roll them into the lake whether she stood there and watched or not. It infuriates me. I swear that should have been her punishment. These people that kill their kids or kill any kids, they should get the same punishment. Ever how they killed the kid, that's the way they should die. That should be the law. Maybe people would think twice about doing this. She's never getting out, though. She used to pay other inmates to stand guard so she could have sex with other inmates. Yeah. She's not only had sex with guards, she's had sex with other inmates she's incarcerated with. She's also been in trouble for drugs. She's not getting out. Let's go look, see when her release date, bitch ain't getting released. Freaking parole hearing thing. When she's eligible for parole. The exact date. So, let me see if I can find it real quick. I just found it earlier. Sometimes, I can find stuff about the time somebody out. I can find stuff easier on my phone using Google search than on my laptop using Microsoft Bing. Must mean Google Chrome's better. I'm still getting used to this daggone laptop. November 4th, 2024. I knew that thing I was reading from was wrong. It said 2025. But no, it's November 4th, 2024. She'll be eligible for parole. Possibility of parole. Oh, after she served 30 years. She was not going to get out, though. She's not going to get out. David's going to make sure of that. Let's look and see if there's any new things about David. I know he got remarried and he has more kids. It's pulling up some kind of inventor. Vintage photo. I just like it. Last thing I see from him, I love being a father, David Smith. Okay, let's look at this. Oh, there's a picture of David with his new kids. Okay, I need to share this with y'all. Hold on. I'll share it to my Discord room. Then I'll pull it up on my laptop. Oh, yeah. Speaking of Discord, I posted a link in a community post yesterday if anyone wants to join Discord. It's a good way to interact with other people that, from my channel. And you can shoot me a message, private message on Discord. Because I'm bad at checking emails. I'm just here to tell you. I hardly ever check emails. So Discord is an easy way to get a hold of me. Okay, let's see. I guess that's the one. Oh, yeah, here it is. This little girl's got some blonde hair. Now, this is from several years ago. Of course, the kids are older now. There he is. Let's see. His son's name is Nicholas, and the daughter's name is Savannah. I can remove some of these ads up top. They ruin these articles with all the ads. Can we click on the picture? No. I was trying to... Oh, crap. I was trying to click on the picture where we could just see the picture, but that's okay. Those kids don't look anything like Alex and Michael, do they? No, you can't tell that they're siblings. I can't. Their mother must have light hair. Reddish hair. Anyways, bless his heart. I'd say there's not a day that goes by that he doesn't think about Michael and Alex, of course. Of course. Bless his heart. I'd say he's been through hell mentally. So I wonder whatever happened to Susan's mom. I'm wondering if she visited her in prison. Is she still alive? Let's look and see what we can find about that. Susan Smith's mom. I think her stepdad died, if I'm not mistaken. I think she actually wrote a book about her daughter. Let me go into the Wikipedia and see if it says her mom's died. No, it looks like they may still be alive. Well, her biological dad isn't. He committed suicide when he was like 37, but Linda Sue seems to still be alive. Unless this has not been updated. Her mom should have faced, I think if your kid comes to you and says that they're being molested and they don't do nothing about it, the mom don't do nothing about it, they should face charges for that. But like I said, that's no excuse for what Susan did. And I'm not defending her, that's for sure. I hate that freaking monster. She can rot in hell for all I care. She's going to hit hell, she's going to split hell wide open when she dies. To say God forgives for sins. But really, I don't know if these child murderers can be forgiven. Hope not. They don't deserve to be forgiven. Listen to your children. If your kid comes to you out of the blue and they tell you that someone's been touching them, you best believe it. 9 times out of 10, when a kid says that, they're being honest. They're telling the truth. I told when I was little and I wasn't believed. That's the truth. But you know what? I only told one time. One time. And then, when you're a kid and nobody believes you, you don't mention it again because you know they're not going to believe you. So the mother did know she was sleeping with her stepfather. Yes, she did know. Susan told her. She told someone else too. It got reported. Bev had to move out of the house, but all the records and stuff was sealed. Susan's mom was more worried about the public finding out than she was worried about Susan, Then Bev moved back into the house. They made him move out. They went to a few counseling sessions. He moved back into the house and he started molesting her again. She told one more time to a school counselor. I believe she's like in her junior year of high school. But she didn't want to press charges. Well, why tell? Why tell if you don't want to press charges? I don't know. Abuse does crazy things to people's minds, I guess, but everybody's different. Yep, Linda knew it, Mark A. David, that's for sure. She cared more about the public finding out and what they thought about her family than she did about, how Susan was. I just want to say, I'm not taking up for Susan. There's no excuse. But her mom caused her a lot of problems by not believing her. And what's up with her mom separating from Susan's dad? He commits suicide 2 weeks later. And a few weeks later, she's married to this Bev guy. What's up with that? That's not normal behavior, in my opinion. She couldn't have cared too much about Harry, her husband. She just latched on to Bev probably because he had money. They went from living in like a little modest place to living in an exclusive neighborhood. The first time should have been one and done, period. Always believe your kids. Yeah. Kids, most of the time, kids don't make up lies on people about things like that. Now, there has been cases where parents have put stuff in kids' heads and convinced them to lie, manipulate them into lying on someone. But in most cases, they're telling the truth. Remember that case a while back, the Sophie case? I'm not so sure about that case now, guys. I'm not so sure what to think about it. Remember the video that went viral? That little girl from Texas, Sophie, didn't want to go back to her mom's house because she said her mom's boyfriend had been molesting her, and her mom knew it. She was complicit in it. But the more I've learned about that case, I don't know. The more I think there's more to it than just that. I'm not so sure about that dad. I'm not going to say the kid's lying, but I'm giving them the side eye. That's how I'm going to say it. That's some Carol Baskin type shiz. Hey, I've got to get my package out of the mail today. Never Lose Hope sent me. She's handmade me a floral headband with like the flowers are like the color of fall, because I'm going to be Carol Baskin for Halloween. And I want to enter Diane's costume contest. So I got to get my package out of the mail. Because I need to record a video so I can enter that contest. I've also got a beautiful headband, floral headband, Mary sent me with my candles. On Halloween, I'm going to take turns wearing my headbands, different floral headbands. I might actually use the one that Mary sent me in the video I'm going to do to enter the contest for Diane's channel. I'm not sure. I may switch them up. But I'm just going to go listen to one of Carol's videos. When she was telling us about her sexual experience with her ex-lover. I'm going to listen to that video and just kind of, I don't know, poke a little fun at it, I guess. Because the Halloween costume, I think Diane's looking for the funniest. I think like the most creative, scariest too. So I guess I'm going to be like participating in the funniest one because my costume's not scary unless you consider looking at Carol Baskin scary. I'm going to have my coffee grinder with me because I don't have a meat grinder. Maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe that'd be disrespectful. But I really don't think that she put her husband, Don Lewis, I don't think she put him in a meat grinder. I don't believe that rumor. If I knew for a fact or, there was evidence that supported that she did that, I wouldn't even do anything like that for Halloween, Well, I'm just going to have like on a shirt that's got like I can't copy Carol Baskin to a T because she will sue me. No joke. She would try to sue me even though I don't have any money. She would try to sue me for using her likeness and profiting off of it because I am a monetized channel. So I'm just going to do, instead of like a solid leopard print shirt, I have a black one. It's got a cross on it, and inside of the cross is a tiger. And I'm just going to have some black leggings and my headband and my face mask. I got a tiger face mask. Never lose hope's enemy. I think she made some earrings and everything. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. I wish I was a funny person, though, because I don't do parodies. I've never done a parody in my life. And basically, to enter this costume contest, that's what I got to do. A parody of Carol freaking Baskin. But I got to make it funny. It's really hard to kind of do Carol Baskin because she doesn't have a freaking personality. You know? She always talks at the same tone. She just don't have much of a personality. She sure ain't outgoing. Cece, did you ask Mark about wearing the Oh Dangerous underwear? He would never do that for me in a video. I have thought about getting him to dress up like Jeff Lowe. I have thought about that. I really wish he would do Joe Exotic, but I don't know if he'd make a good Joe Exotic. Mark's about bald. Joe Exotic's at least got a mullet. I think that Sophie was and is in trouble, but to pull it either way, it's not smart because both sides are acting like teens fighting over her best friend. You know what? I kind of started side-eyeing that when I remembered about this guy who's really YouTube famous. I can't remember his name right offhand, but he started recording custody exchanges between him and his wife, ex-wife. And one of the videos that went viral, this kid, I think his name's Parker, he didn't want to get out of the truck and go in his mom's. He was saying that they were abusive and it was like a big deal and the police were called and all this, and the dad sitting there filming, and he done a lot of videos on this. Actually, I came across that first video I just was telling you about. So I went to his channel and I watched all the other videos and caught up because this has been several years back. I think he eventually, a few years later, ended up getting custody of his son, but it was like a big thing here on YouTube. The videos were viral. I've been meaning to find that channel. This guy's from Texas. I've been meaning to find his channel and share the videos with Lisa because I was like, did this dad get the idea to film his custody exchanges because of this guy's channel? Because this was a pretty big deal here. I just ran across his channel. I'm going to try to find it. Pretty bad. I'm subscribed to channels. I watch a bunch of their videos and I can't remember their freaking names. Oh, Caleb Levert. Let's see. Leverett. A verbal. I'm going to share this link in chat. I want you to check out this channel. I couldn't quit watching. It was just interesting how crazy people acting for other children. You know what, people? When you divorce, you don't need to be selfish. You need to think about your kids and their feelings before your own. Just because you might hate your ex, don't mean your kid does. They still love their mom or dad. I never say nothing about Timothy's daddy in front of him. Never. I don't say much about him anyways. He's a smart aleck. Hey, Sandy Hill. Good morning. He's a smart aleck, and that's about it. And he don't like to pay child support. That's about all I say, but I don't say it in front of my son because my son loves him. You know, I don't want to hurt his feelings. I don't want him to feel awkward. I don't want him to feel like mom hates dad because mom really don't hate dad. Mom dislikes his ways, you know. Think about your kids and their feelings. Arguing with your ex or your current partner, that does damage to kids. Psychological damage to them. CPS dropped the ball. I think more angry than that, to be honest. I think that little girl Sophie, she was telling the truth, but I don't know. There's something more to it. I believe she's telling the truth, but I just don't know this dad's motives. You know what I mean? I'm side-eyeing it. And Burble, when you watch that link that I just shared, you'll see what I'm getting at. I'm just thinking, did that guy get the idea from this channel to record everything? I don't know. Yes, think about your kids' feelings. We know Susan Smith sure didn't think about her kids' feelings, did she? She must have hated her kids. You'd have to hate your kids to do something like that to them. For real. Anyways, I hope she rots in hell, like I said before. Hope she splits hell wide open, as they say. Because I sure don't believe when she passes away, she's going to be getting in the gates of heaven. I shouldn't say stuff like that. But sometimes stuff just comes out. It's really how I feel about it. Anyways, guys, I'm going to get off here. I'm going over to the funny farm to get my little goats shed cleaned out. I didn't get to do it yesterday because I got over there doing a bunch of other stuff, me and Mark. That's what I plan on doing. And tomorrow morning, 411 Now does his live stream. Y'all check that out. It usually comes on about 10:30, 11 a.m. Eastern time for me. But he's in Washington State, so I don't know what that time is out there. And we're going to be playing some Halloween trivia tomorrow night. I was going to do like a members Halloween stream tomorrow night, but I think I'm just going to do it for everyone so we all can have fun. And of course, on the 31st will be our Halloween party. I'm still trying to make up my mind. Do we want to do it on this channel or my backup channel? Because, you know, I might want to play the Monster Mash song. Songs like that. You know? But anywho, tomorrow night we'll probably play some Halloween trivia. Maybe y'all could call in with some ghost stories. You don't have to be on camera. I don't think you even have to have a stream yard link or app. You just click on the link. Anyways, y'all all have a wonderful day. Thanks for chatting with me about American Monster Susan Smith. Thank you for the great conversation. Oh, thank you, Sapphire. I just love your name. Melanie Christina Toodle. Oh, I love that. Toodles. Lisa, what's that saying that you're always saying? Mark says the same thing. Oh, I can't remember it. It's a cute little saying that you're always saying. My mind went blank. Anyway. Oh, we're going to have fun, Shay Shay. We're going to have fun. I like trying my costume for y'all. Have it on, but I got to save it. I got to save it for costume contest and our Halloween stream. I love ghost stories. Yeah, I'm going to try to find some good ones. Some good ghost stories. I mean, I know a few, but I've told them several times on here. I think probably the last 2 Halloweens I've done that. So if anyone has any good ghost stories and you want to come up on panel with me, you're more than welcome. You don't have to email me or anything. Just when I start my stream, just come in and say, hand me a link. Anyways, y'all have a great day. Be safe, be kind, and peace. And as always, thank you to everyone for your loyalty and support. I love you guys. I really do. Can't imagine not having y'all in my life every morning. You know, I'm just in the routine of always talking to y'all. Anyways, peace.